In this video, we'll be talking about Schwann cells, which are one type of glial cells found in the peripheral nervous system of vertebrates. These Schwann cells are really important for myelination of peripheral nervous system axons. They were first named based on Theodor Schwan, who described the Schwann cells in 19th century. So the key function of the Schwann cell is to myelinate the axons, and thereby creating an insulation for these nerve fibers, which would help in the nerve conduction. So this kind of insulation facilitates the rapid transmission of neuronal impulse. In myelinating nerve fibers, the myelin sheath is not continuous, but it is interrupted in small nodes known as nodes of Ranvier. So due to these nodes of Ranvier, the action potential can literally jump from one node to another node. And this kind of mode of transmission is known as saltatory transmission of action potential, which further accelerates the nerve conduction. And this is only possible thanks to the Schwann cells. Now let's talk about some other functions of the Schwann cells as well. So Schwann cells help in nerve regeneration, nutrient transport, and phagocytosis. So in context of nerve regeneration, it's important to note that when there is an injury in the peripheral nervous system, Schwann cells play a key role, and they de-differentiate and help in the process of neural regeneration. When it comes to nutrient transport, they help in transport of several nutrients and provide them to the neurons. They can also have phagocytotic role, which might help in cleanup of the damaged portion of the neuron, and they might help to repair the overall process of regeneration. So let's look at the regeneration of peripheral nervous system neuron and how Schwann cell is important for that. So Schwann cell can possibly do many things when there is a neuronal injury. So here is a neuronal injury. So the distal part of the neuronal injury would eventually be degraded and would eventually be cleared by the macrophages. Later on, the Schwann cells would take important role in terms of guiding the process. So here we can see there are de-differentiated Schwann cells which align in a specific band-like fashion known as bands of Bangner, and this particular structure forms a passageway where the axonal sprouts can grow and regenerate the neuron again. So this is how Schwann cells help in nervous regeneration. So let's talk about the Schwann cell development. So the Schwann cells are actually developed from the neural crest cells. So these Schwann cells have different stage of their maturation. One stage is known as the immature Schwann cell progenitor, then there is immature Schwann cell, and eventually they form the mature Schwann cells. So initially there are interactions with the axons loosely, then there is strong interaction with the basal lamina, and Schwann cell starts wrapping around the axon, and thereby they get matured. So each of these stages of the Schwann cell can be discriminated via specific molecular markers. Now when it comes to disease, Schwann cells are really important. But before that, let us talk about and compare the Schwann cells with oligodendrocytes. Oligodendrocytes are also glial subtypes which are helping in myelination in the central nervous system. It's important to note Schwann cells are present in peripheral nervous system and not in the central nervous system. So one Schwann cell can contact only a single axon, whereas one particular oligodendrocyte can contact several axons and myelinate them. Also, their origin is different. Schwann cell is neural crest derivative, whereas oligodendrocytes are generated from common neuronal progenitors. Now let's talk about Schwann cells from a context of Guillain-Barré syndrome. This is an acute, rapidly progressive demyelinative autoimmune disorder of the peripheral nerves. Here the peripheral nerves are affected due to one antibody known as GM1 ganglioside autoantibody. So immune system mistakenly recognize the Schwann cell proteins and produce autoantibodies against them, which eventually damage these Schwann cells and the myelination. So obviously that lead to neuropathies. So initially this particular damage lead to weakness, numbness, tingling, and all the sensation starts from the leg and goes up towards the upper part of the body. So this is reflected in the electromyography recordings. So there is a decrease in nerve conduction velocity. Why? Because the Schwann cells are affected. The insulation is now faulty, so the conduction of the nerve is slower. Apart from Guillain-Barré syndrome, there is other syndrome known as Charcot-Marie-Tooth disease or CMT. In this case also, there is a damage in the Schwann cell due to a mutation. So these are inherited peripheral neuropathies where the mutation, most of the cases the mutation happens in PMP22 gene present on chromosome 17. This particular gene product help in formation of the myelin. So it's a component of myelin. So when it is mutated, the overall myelin sheath is damaged. This lead to plethora of symptoms including muscle pain, cold feet, especially the characteristic curled feet, atrophy of the muscles, and curled fingers. So that brings out the importance of Schwann cells in various contexts. So this is a quick summary about the Schwann cells and its function. So I hope this video was useful. If you like this video, give it a quick thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Get notes and flashcards in our Facebook page and our Instagram page. Links are provided in the description. You can support our channel using Super Thanks. You can pay via PayPal, Paytm or UPI. See you in next video.